Hello, I'm Tanya, founder of Ya Light, a movement to ignite the light within. So, you want to know what to expect during a divorce. Well, let me give you my perspective because I've been through three. Let's start off with some definitions of divorce. Disunite, split, isolate, sever, cut off, separate, detach, and divide. These words have kind of a painful intonation, don't they? When we have to be cut off or detached from something that had a lot of meaning for us, it's going to cause pain and suffering. Now, to further complicate it, is during divorce, sometimes we can become cut off and detached from ourselves, from our feelings of happiness and our feelings of hope. So sometimes divorce can feel like a double whammy. You didn't see it coming. So if we can get through this painful period and over into a sense of freedom and a sense of self dignity and self honoring, then we have more of a feeling of awe. And that's the goal. That's what we're looking for in divorce, is to move through these periods and these feelings into better feelings. So, divorce is going to challenge you. Divorce, if you can look at divorces, it's going to challenge me, and I'm going to get through it. Positive thinking is really important during divorce. So, divorce will challenge you like you've never been challenged before, possibly. My three divorces were once when I was a teenager, my parents divorced, and then once in my 40s, I divorced, and then I had a rebound relationship that didn't work out, and I had to go through another divorce. And what I'll tell you is every divorce that I've been through and every divorce out there is uncharted territory. Every time someone goes through a divorce, it's going to be different. And when you go through a divorce, it's unknown territory. So we have no idea where the divorce is going to end up. It's a energy that's uncontrollable, and it's also unpredictable. There will be unexpected outcomes that we can't predict. We can't predict whether our ex is going to be nice to us. We can't predict whether our children are going to be able to not be traumatized. We can't predict our finances, our financial stability. So this sort of uncharted, unknown, unpredictable situation really causes an increase in fear, and this whole situation causes stress. So it's important that we learn to have stress management techniques, positive coping mechanisms that'll once again get us through this divorce and into better feelings. So another thing that's very predictable, so we've talked about the unpredictable, and there's a lot that's unpredictable, quite a lot. But what is predictable is that you will have an increase in responsibility. In divorce, where you had two people and they were a partner, some were handling these responsibilities and the other was handling those responsibilities. And when you become divorced, disunited, each partner is going to have to assume their own level of responsibilities in all of these areas, and there's quite a few areas. So you will be at the center of your life, will have to assume responsibility for your finances, for your children, and for any trauma that your children might be going through, for relationships. Old relationships change during divorce, and there will be new relationships during divorce. You'll be responsible for material stuff like your house, your car, your furniture, your animals. And then you'll have to be responsible for your health. And this is a really important area, not that the others aren't, but we have physical health, we have psychological health, and we have spiritual health. And it'll be important that you're looking at all three of these areas of health so that you can stay strong, so that you can combat the fear and stress. During divorce, you'll have to really be career oriented. I don't know if it's all of a sudden, maybe you didn't work before, but maybe you have a new calling, and there has to be a certain amount of energy that goes towards your career and a calling, maybe a creative project that you have. And then back to this area of finances, you'll be responsible for your own insurance, your house insurance, car insurance, medical insurance, and dental insurance. And it's really important that you know that this is something you need to get on with, like right away after your divorce. You need to not get stuck in fear and too stressed, because as soon as you get this wheel here a little more stable, then it becomes a lot easier to move forward into those areas of freedom. This wheel, getting it all to where you're managing it, you managing you, can take 1 to 2 years. And for some people, it can take even longer. So ignoring the fact that you have an increased responsibility and getting stuck in the fear and stress, that'll really prolong your ability to reach a level of happiness and freedom. So one thing you need to know is, because all of this is pretty heavy, it's important that you get support, and not just support from your friends and family, but support from experts in the field of divorce, or experts in the field of health, or a few different experts in childhood trauma if you need. And there's so many resources available now to us with the internet and all that, that please, if you are going through a divorce, raise your hand and say, I need help. Very, very important. So the more you plan and the more you prepare for a divorce, and when you're in a divorce, the more you can continue to kind of plan and prepare for your new life, the better off you'll be. So, I have here court. Now, if you get in court, that can definitely prolong how long it takes to get through your divorce and on to other things, because court's very unpredictable. So just so you know, I'd be weary of court. I got stuck in court for many, many years, and it was such an unpleasant experience and costly. I would really, really give advice to everybody to be hesitant to get involved with the courts. Another thing I would involve or give advice to is be careful to get involved in another relationship right away, like I did. It was a man who'd gone through a divorce, and his wheel here was spinning, and had children over here that were in the wheel, and my wheel was spinning, and I had children over here in that wheel, and everything in his life was spinning like this, and everything in my life was spinning. We tried to combine our life. It didn't even matter if we were compatible, because we weren't stable. So it's important that you become stable, and then you find somebody else that's stable if you're interested in another relationship. All right. So let's get on to the good news. Like, why do we go through a divorce in the first place? Or what can be our goal if it wasn't our choice and it's thrown at us, we're in this situation? Is the goal can be increased levels of freedom. And with freedom, there's increased levels of happiness usually. So if you can look at divorce as an opportunity to create a whole new life and a whole new you, it can make the challenge seem worth it. But if you get stuck, we've got this choice in divorce when we're like, I'm getting a divorce. We can, it's actually a choice. We can get stuck in a lot of what can be called, like biblically, it's called darkness, in blaming another person, in feeling guilty about if we made the decision and it's impacted others, in feeling like a failure. Divorce is going to bring up failure in people because there's this assumption that you failed in your marriage, but it's important that you make it okay. It's okay. I failed. We learn failure leads to success, like some people say, and we learn from our lessons, but we can't get stuck in feeling like a failure, or feeling a lot of shame, or becoming prideful, or fearful, or angry, or getting stuck and feeling weak. It's real important that we don't get stuck in these typical things that we may have to pass through during our divorce. So we make the choice to become willing to really look at ourselves. Divorce becomes this incredible opportunity to look at all of the ways that we weren't showing up, and looking at the ways in which we can grow into a better person, and looking at how we can forgive. We can use forgiveness towards ourselves and other people to heal. So we become this list over here is moving into the light. We don't want to get stuck in the darkness. We want to move into the light and become this type of a person, somebody who can have acceptance. Divorce is this process of accepting over and over and over things that we don't want to accept. But the more we're able to accept, the more that we're able to live in reality. And this gives us a lot more energy to face the things that we need to face, and learning to let go. And I like the phrase, let go, let God, because what you realize in divorce is, as much as we want to control things, we have very little control over so many things. And the more we can let go and let God, okay, there's a plan in this, and be hopeful that there is a plan. And I have seen that it's true. As we let go of the need to control, we actually get more of a sense of control, which is a really paradoxical but beautiful thing. So we learn to let go. We learn to trust. We actually divorce if we didn't trust ourselves before. We can really get to a point where we trust ourselves. We don't need to blame somebody else. We don't need to get stuck in failure and shame. We trust that we can get through something very, very difficult And we trust that we're going to be able to get through anything else, because divorce will make you a more courageous, powerful, and wise person. That is one of the beautiful things about going through a divorce, is what you can expect if you don't get stuck over here, is you're going to become a wiser person. Divorce can be very maturing, and with maturity you see the people who are old and they're wise and old. Well, we want to have wisdom, because wisdom, really, we need it all the time during divorce. How to treat our children, how to treat our ex-husbands, how to move forward and not create a bad situation for ourselves where we get stuck in pain or any of these things again. So wisdom is really, really important. And when we're willing to pass through the darkness into the light, we'll just become more powerful, more wise, more loving. So divorce can be a whole journey in making you into a more loving person, and more peaceful and more hopeful. So what I've seen from my 3 divorces is I've been able to pass through the darkness. We pass through it, we become more of the light, and we're willing to do the work we need to get through these things. There's skills for moving us out of the darkness into the light that as we incorporate these skills into our lives, we get this really nice divorce toolbox that actually helps us with any situation that's challenging. So we really can become a much stronger, much more free person, and we realize we have the choice to create a whole new life for ourselves that really resonates with us and that we can hold on to, that we're not going to lose. So anyway, I hope that this was helpful. Go in grace and with grace. I'm Tanya with Y'all Light. Thanks so much.